All right, so we're just gonna let your two videos play here through so you can see what's going on. Okay, so if we take these both back, and then let's try to sync these up. We got something kind of like that. So let's get this back to the start. Get this back to the start. Okay. Now, we talked about this the other day, and that was our set position, making sure that our weight starts back enough. Okay. And we're going to be able to see your set position has to get your weight back before you can even lift your leg. So if we watch and we just let this go through a couple frames at a time, watch your whole body and watch where your body starts to go before this leg comes off the ground. So we're going to get it going here. All right, see that? Your body is taking weight from the front leg and shifting it back to the back leg in order to get that leg off the ground. But guess what's going to happen? The longer you play this game, the smarter every athlete gets that's on the field. And if we have to rock our bodies back to get that leg up, base runners are going to see that. They're going to pick that up, and they're going to start going right now. They're going to start going right when they see that happen. Right when they see that happen. So now they got a quicker, faster jump on you, which is never what we want, especially if you're left-handed. We want to keep that base runner held to that spot a little longer, as long as we can, actually. So allowing the opportunity for them to see when you're about to lift that leg, that's going to give them a lot of advantage. So we want to be already set back here. We want that weight already back. So that way when we lift our leg, our body's not having to go back no more. All right, so we want to start in this position here. Our weight is back compared to our weight is straight above. Okay, the weight's in the middle. We want the weight to be back to start. So that way when we lift our leg, our body does not have to go back and we don't show that we're about to lift our leg. Okay. Let's talk about a couple things that you do really well here. One, the height of our leg lift is great. Okay, if we can get that higher, let's get it higher. If that's as high as we can get it, keep doing that. We also have this good angle with the leg lift, meaning that the leg's not coming straight up here. It's coming on a slight angle backwards. This exposes our front hip, and this is what we want to lead down the mound with, which you do a good job. That front hip starts to lead the way. The front hip starts to go. That's what we want to stay behind, is that front foot. Or I'm sorry, that front hip. Okay. So this right here, really good. We're in a good position here. The only thing I may say is right here, it looks like we're kind of hunching over. So if we go to this view here and we get to this very similar position so we can see that good high leg lift, if we can get that a little higher, let's get it a little higher. If this is our max, let's just keep doing what we're doing. So then we get you to about the same position, okay? And we can see how much your head is leaning over your body, okay? We want us to be taller. We want to be more shoulders above hips at this point in time. Okay? So if I pull up a couple arms here from the front view, and let's get some guys that hopefully you know of. And I'm going to keep it with lefties as well. You probably don't know this. Nah, it's not the greatest angle. Andrew Miller's got too low of an arm slot. All right, we can go Chapman. Okay. And we notice shoulders are staying above those hips. And then we get him to the position that you're kind of in. Boom. And we got shoulders a lot more over the hips. Oops, wrong one. Okay, we're going to see a little bit better straight up and down here as opposed to hunched over here. Let's look for another lefty, Blake Snell. He's a little bit lower in arm slot than you. Maybe not. All right, nice and tall. Still is trying to be nice and tall. He's not trying to lean over front. Okay. So we get this and that. And we can kind of see those slight little differences. We're just hunched over a little bit. Okay. When we hunch over like this, we load our quads. Okay. Quads are the muscles in the front of your legs here. When our body starts to lean forward, all of our weight starts to load into our quads. Once weight loads into the quads, it's very difficult for us to drive our body to the target. Okay? If we look here, he's loading into his glutes. He's sitting into it. Okay? He's sitting. He's sitting. Sitting. As opposed to you, and you're tall, and then you start to hunch, 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 hunch. Okay? Which at some point we're going to have to get back to being upright. And we're going to see right there, now we are. We're finally upright again. But because we were leaning over so much and loading our quads, we're going to notice now when we get to front foot strike, which is when this front foot hits the ground, that's called our front foot strike position. Okay, notice that your hip to your knee to your foot is going inwards. If your knee is in this position here, your knee is in the way of your back hip being able to come through. So if we take Blake Snell, oops, that was yours. If we take Blake Snell into his foot strike, right there, we can see that this is a lot more in a straight line, and we're able to see that back hip a lot more because the knee was not in the way. Your lower body is not going to get into this position until now. Okay, but now let's look how much more your shoulders are rotated forward versus Blake Snell's still to the side. He's still sideways with his upper body. Your upper body at foot strike is open. Okay? At foot strike, we want our shoulders to still be closed. We don't want them open to the target because now all the power you had to throw is here. Okay? Blake Snell has all of this power to throw. Okay? Where has his body been going during this rotation? It's going to the target, 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 to the target. Now we're finishing down and around. Okay? Let's watch your rotation. At foot strike, okay, how are we rotating? We're trying to go forward, but we're more going to third and down. Your front shoulder is going third and down. Why is it doing that? Because that is the only thing that you can do to get this knee over here. The only way you can get this knee out of your way and cleared in a nice straight fashion is to take your front shoulder, your front elbow, your glove, and drop it down and around yourself a little bit in order to get this shoulder to come through, get this shoulder to come out of the way, and to get this knee out of the way. So we're using shoulder rotation to get our lower half rotated the way we need it to be. That needs to be opposite. We need to rotate our entire lower half on its own and then rotate the upper half. All right, so two things we got to think about in the beginning is get that weight already back and then stay tall as this leg comes down, and don't hunch over, hunch over, hunch over, hunch over, because we're going to have to unhunch it sometime. And as you unhunch and go this way to unhunch, your body's going to want to continue to go this way. And that's where your glove takes you, and that's when the front knee opens up finally. So we need to be able to get this lower half to rotate on its own all the way before it hits the ground. Okay? So we get you at front foot strike, right? Boom, you've hit the ground, and we can see your belt has not rotated very much. We go to a side view. I don't have a Blake's. Oh, I do have a Blake Snell from the side. All right, it's going to be very difficult to see because it's not in slow motion, but I should be able to pause it and get us to where we want to be. All right, at front foot strike, boom. Okay, let's look at these two and compare and contrast what we're seeing. Okay, front foot we can see is nice and in line with the target, and so is the knee. And we saw that from this front view as well. Boom. Take it back a little bit. Right there. We can see that back hip all the way through. We can see that that back hip has gone all the way through. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that one. What can we notice the difference on the backside? This foot has turned all the way over. This knee cap is facing the back of this heel. It is rotated all the way around. If we look at your backside, your foot has not rotated at all. Your knee has not rotated at all, which means your back hip cannot rotate. We need to get this hip over here. We need to get this knee turned over all the way. We need to get this foot rolled over that big toe. All right, we look at Blake Snell here, and watch how long his heel stays on the ground in that back foot. The heel's on the ground still. Heel's on the ground still. Heel's on the ground. Still on the ground. Still on the ground. Still on the ground. And now we're going to roll over our back foot's big toe to rotate. See that? We're rolling over the big toe. Rolling over that big toe. All right, rolling over that big toe. And as we roll over the big toe, watch what the knee does. Boom, rotates. The knee rotates. The knee rotates into our foot strike. Your foot here, all right, we'll back you up. Your heel's still on the ground. Your heel's still on the ground. Your heel is now off the ground. It's more off the ground. It's more off the ground. It's more off the ground. And we haven't rolled over that big toe yet. And because we haven't rolled over that big toe yet, that knee hasn't rotated. Because the knee hasn't rotated, the back hip hasn't rotated. Foot's already on the ground now. So in order for us to get into this type of position here that Blake Snell got into at foot strike, you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 frames longer to look similar in the backside as Blake Snell does. To look similar on your lower front side as Blake Snell does. But again, we can see his full jersey emblem here. We can still see his number here. His shoulders are in the same position that they have been the whole time. They have not rotated yet. We look at your shoulders, and they've been rotating this entire time. They're rotating, they're rotating, they're rotating, they're rotating. And because the shoulders are rotating, that's the reason that this is now rotating. So if your shoulders rotating are causing your back leg to rotate, there's no way this upper half can rotate as aggressively as it should because it's pulling all of this weight with it, which slows it down. All right, so you and Xavier both have to work on getting that lower half to rotate all the way through before this front foot hits the ground.